Welcome everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today. I want to talk about something that's really important today, and that is about building a solid foundation. When it comes to building a marriage, one thing's for certain. If there's a crack in the foundation, eventually things will crumble. And just as we require a strong base for constructing a house, we also need it to nurture the behaviors we wish to manifest in our relationships. And I know if you are married to a childhood trauma survivor that you are living in a roller coaster of emotions. I want to take self-care and taking care of yourself to a different level and give you a different perspective on it. So let me give you an example situation. And just think about a time when your partner was triggered or had some negative emotions or strong emotions to something. You've been learning about triggers and you have been telling yourself that you are going to start remaining calm, that you have pledged to yourself that you're not going to internalize these reactions. You're not going to take it personally. You're going to give him space, yet you're going to set healthy boundaries. And this means that you are going to address the behaviors that were misaligned with your values and not be critical or judgmental. But let's just say that in the midst of the storm, you have been in survival mode. You are exhausted and you're barely keeping above water. And you come to the end of the day, you've had a lot of work pressures, and you come home and unintentionally utter words that will set off your spouse. Your ideal self would have navigated this with understanding, but fatigue made you defensive. And later you're wrapped in guilt and you say to yourself, I wish I could have treaded more lightly. You might be thinking to yourself, I can't do this. I am trying so hard to change these patterns, but nothing seems to be working. It's just so hard. But I want you to start thinking that maybe the actual adversary here isn't your intent or lack thereof. It's the sheer exhaustion and stress that's clouding your judgment. Please, please, truly listen to me. When we're stretched thin, drained, anxious, and on the brink of burnout, we're not equipped to handle the sea of emotions you're seeing with grace. And by embracing a healthy selfishness, you're going to be less likely to get pulled into your husband's triggers and less likely to respond in a way that doesn't work for you or your relationship. I recently came across an interesting study that can help us understand what's at play here. Researchers from the University of California observed a group of students to see how they reacted during high-pressure periods like exams. They discovered that for better or for worse, stress reinforces our old patterns. Whether these patterns are negative, such as indulging in salty snacks, or positives, such as gaining plenty of sleep. When the pressure was high, the students tended to double down on those habits. And this helps reveal how hard it is to shift our behavior when we're stressed. Whether we're looking to develop a quality or establish a routine or create new patterns in our relationship, when we're feeling unsettled and anxious, it often drives us back to our defaults. Then, when we stumble in our attempts to transform ourselves or our lives, we miss the identity of our source, and that is often stress. In the realm of relationships, this means that when you're overwhelmed, even when the best of intentions, you might inadvertently revert to less empathetic responses and unhealthy patterns. Okay, I think you know where I'm going here. You need to take better care of yourself. Finding ways to alleviate stress is different for everyone. However, I think we can often get caught up in thinking we need a week's vacation or a spa day or a weekend getaway to relieve stress. But from personal experience with being in survival mode for a very long time, I realized that I felt better when I prioritized just 5 minutes every day towards something that restored me. I started putting 5 blanks on the top of my day planner, and I filled it in with 5 things that would make me feel better. And they didn't have to take a lot of time. In a lot of cases, I was lucky if I had 5 minutes a day to spend on myself. But when I put these things on the top of my planner, I found that I was better able to prioritize them. I want you to take a moment and think about your situation. Are the daily stresses of your life affecting the foundation of your relationship? Is there a way that you can prioritize yourself even for just 5 minutes a day that will help your situation? More importantly, are there patterns in your relationship where your stress level is actually leading to triggering moments? I know these questions are hard, but if you are answering yes to any of these questions, I do want you to check out my free 5-day Permission to Be Selfish challenge. And while the word selfish can have a negative connotation, I know that as a supporter, you are most likely putting everyone else's needs before your own. And I do want you to think about, now that we have set the case, about how you can start to prioritize a healthy selfishness in order to create better patterns and better communication with your husband. But before we wrap up, I want to address another prevalent challenge you might be facing, and this is something I call negative relationship self-talk. We've all heard about negative self-talk referring to the negative thoughts we have about ourselves. But I want to investigate if you may be unintentionally bringing that negative talk into your relationship. If this video has resonated with you, I invite you to sign up for my newsletter. It goes out every week. And next week, I'll be diving into this very good topic about how our negative self-talk might be affecting our relationships and providing you strategies to help.